All right. Well, hey, welcome back, everybody, to a whole new year of TLC. I'm Dr. Tom Kerpus over at Georgia Tech. We've got our regulars on here, Steve Lamarca from AMT. Hey, Steve, good to see you again. Happy New Year to you. We got Dr. Kyle Salibi, Cyber Kyle over there. Dr.
Hello, great
Salibi.
to see you guys.
Kyle's just down the hall over here, but he's in a separate office. And today's guest actually is Mike Bauer from Marathon Precision. And I'll tell you what, Mike, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great. And Steve was all excited. He's like, we got to get Mike on here because it's just so cool the stuff he has to talk about. So I'm gonna let Steve do kind of sort of roll things off here.
Yeah, so in all honesty, this is it's legitimately my second conversation ever with Mike. But last year at AMT's MFG conference, my new colleague Brittany, she went to that conference, and at that conference, part of the conference was actually a tour of Marathon Precision in Chicago, or just outside Chicago. And when she came back, she told me how much fun she had, and it was basically the highlight of that trip was going to Marathon. And they have a ton of cool things. They have a ton of cool machines. They do a lot of fun things. They've got a lot of cars in the shop and machining and manufacturing artwork. And their business is booming. And another important thing to touch on with that is their customers are happy. They've got a huge customer retention and a very strong employee retention. And I think what I got from Mike was all of that really stems from passion and enthusiasm for the industry, and not so much the industry, but like how the industry's technology fuels people's passions and hobbies. And Mike, did I pretty much get it there?
Well, you're making me feel good. I'll be honest with you. I own a big shop. There's no doubt about that, and we're pretty well diverse as far as everything from a blacksmith, chemical machining, lasers. You name it, I have it. IDOD, wires, sinkers, 5-axis, 10-axis lathes. And that's part of it. I always say people can buy horsepower. There's a lot of people that have more money than I do. A lot. But it's hard to buy brain power. And brain power is just as important as horsepower. It may be more important. In today's environment, hiring people and retaining them, everyone tells me they have a hard time. And my philosophy has always been to treat my guys and women as family. And I worked in another shop for 25 years, and this would be my going on 25 years of owning my own. And we have people retire. But that's about it. I don't lose employees. And I think if you treat your employees like family, give them a path to grow in the company, show them that you're investing in the company, you'll do okay, and that really has worked for us. Now, that's not everybody's business philosophy for sure. Some people are in it for the money grab, and cheat their employees or short term. But I don't believe in that at all. My family's in this, my actual family, and I treat my employees like
Nice.
family. I do. I'll put it that way.
Nice.
Expanding on that, one of the things that you mentioned in our phone call was that you value IMTS as like one of the most important things in the industry.
My Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm counting the days. If you don't take advantage, and I'm fortunate. I'm from north suburbs of Chicago, so but still, it takes whatever it takes, an hour and 20 minutes to get there from here. Every single day I have 4 to 6 people down there from my company, and we're a company of about 50. And myself and my son will alternate days, and then we go together on Saturday. But if you don't go down and take advantage of the technology there, you're a fool. I mean, you're a dinosaur at that point. Because right now is such a, when I started, there was no CNC machines. The EDMs were just coming out, and none of them were good. It took a while for things to progress. But boy, you look at the technology now, I mean, and every 4, 6 years, something revolutionizes our industry. It could have been spindle speeds. It was ball screws, linear motors, linear rails, software, computer speed. And if you go every year, you can actually see it. I'd say 2020 or 2018 to 2022, you really saw robots and pallets. And if you're not moving in that direction to lights out, 5-axis machining. 2010, you really saw that starting to grow. Haas came out with theirs in 2012. And now tool probes. And if you go to IMTS and keep your eyes open, like at 2024 we went, and it was ironic because I missed it. My son and my engineer actually saw it. And they saw a Keyence machine.
Yeah.
And beautiful machine. I went back and looked at it the next day when I went. We had an opportunity to bid on a job that would have been really hard for us. We have a CMM. The program it and the time frame that we had. We called Keyence in. They came in that next day. I made a sample part, cut it in half. We measured it. I bought it on the spot because it did exactly what we needed. And I was able to get that job. It was about I think $120,000 job for us.
Nice.
And yeah, it was nice. And the only reason we were able to, I would have passed on the job just because of all the measuring that was involved with it. On a CMM, it would have been hard. So I would have just walked away from it. So because of IMTS, we were able to see it within a month, buy it and get that job and ship that job within 2 months. So that's the power of IMTS. I mean, I've been going since the 80s,
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's you're right on target. I mean, what's exciting to me, right, is you look at it because people are like, well, I can just go online and watch a video of it and blah 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 blah. There's no interaction, right? So to me, there's sort of two things going on. Number one is you can go there; it's way better than going online. You go there, but also, as you mentioned before, it's the brain power. So when you went there, not only did you see the piece of equipment and see it operate, but you could talk to the people who were running it and so forth and understand what it could do and how it could make your life easier. And then you could just say, hey, we need you over here. And off they went and then, got you going. So, I just see it as really a great opportunity to see where current technology is going and where some new stuff is going. I mean,
not only that, I mean, because, like, if you stay there long enough and talk to the, salesmen sell the first machine, service sells the second. But if you're in their booth long enough and keep your ears open, other customers or potential customers are going through. And when I go, I spend all day. I'm there when they open and I go when the lights are off. And you can talk to somebody else who's looking either at that same one or has a model similar. And you can pick their brain. You don't always have to just listen to the salesman. And that's worked so much for me. And if you're open and, some business owners are very closed-minded and they don't want to talk about anything. But at IMTS, hell, you guys got how many countries? How many different countries do people fly in here? There's got to be 40, 50 countries.
Easily.
People from different countries coming in here. So you talk to somebody in England, they don't care what I do. But if they have a Keyence and I can talk to them. I'll buy them lunch. We go to dinner. And it's just a great networking thing besides.
Yeah.
Mike,
I'll just tell you, I grew up in the Chicago area, the north suburbs. We had a small machine shop, and I remember going with my dad as a kid. That must have been like 50 years ago and so forth. And it was great to see all those machines and just to see everything they were talking about. Cool.
It's amazing. I mean, when you go on to the south end of McCormick Place and you look at all the forklifts that are parked in the parking lot, and you look at the technology under one roof, that has to be the largest machining center in the world at that given day. You know, technology is everywhere you look.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I agree. Hey,
Mike, it's just inspiring to hear you talk about manufacturing. You can hear the passion in your voice with it. I am sure there's someone out there that has never been to IMTS that may or may not listen to us. What would you tell them if they're going this year? What would be the one thing you'd tell them when they go to IMTS in 26?
Get there early, stay late, and keep your eyes open, because you'll learn. It's such a big event that, you know, we always have a punch list of what we're looking at. You know, 1 year it may be 5-axis machining centers or pallets, palletized machines, or it may be work holding. And like I say, we send enough people down there that I'll send the guys that do most of the milling to where they sell all the tooling, you know. And then myself, my son, we'll go look. You know, we bought a Kaiser air compressor there when we were there. And I've heard of them, and I never really paid attention to them. And then we were walking through the booth, and the salesman goes, "It's pretty quiet, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, is it running?" He goes, "Yeah."
nice.
I said, "You got to be kidding me." And he goes, "Put your hand on it." And I looked, it's pumping air. And I bought one. You know, I bought a 50 horsepower right when we got back, because there's, you know, it's noise. So my other one is still, it's a backup, but we bought, and I wouldn't have bought it had I not gone there, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is you walk around and, you know, one of my things this coming one IMTS show will be Swiss lathes. I don't have a Swiss lathe.
Oh.
And I always wanted one. I don't know if I'll ever even make a part that I sell on it. I think eventually, that's my business philosophy. Buy it before you need it, figure it out, and somehow I get customers that need it. It's worked out.
That is so cool.
Well, I think a Swiss lathe, those are awesome. Yeah, and by the way, everybody out there in podcast land, definitely go check out some Swiss lathes, because those things are awesome little machines, and they just crank out parts. Anyways, it's great. It's great. So I was curious. So one of the things we've sort of heard a little bit about is sort of this whole lights out thing. But I'd love to get your opinion on. Well, hey, there's lights out, but but you still need people. I mean, everybody says, oh well, the factory future is not going to have anybody in it. That's not the case. I know it's not the case, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on sort of lights out and automation and where people fit into that whole equation.
Oh, I think I've said it before, brain power is key, and I own 8 Matsuras here, with a total of maybe 100 different pallets on all of them. So it's not only a matter of lights out, it's a matter of having, my ma'am, one of them has 15 pallets, another has 35. So I could have 15 different tool holders, work holding on that. So I never have to change that work holding. So if a job comes up every 3 months, they just pull that pallet up, pull that section of tooling out, and let her rip, tater chip. It's, we're making parts. So it doesn't necessarily have to be lights out. It could be just the efficiency of how you run your shop during the day.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I remember when we would code jobs, right? Well, how many parts are you going to make? Okay, what's the runtime per part? But then the real killer, if you only made a few of them, was the setup time, right? And so if you can eliminate that, man, you've got a significant competitive advantage.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge, and that's the beauty of technology. I mean, it's an investment. I mean, I've invested a lot in my shop, but it's paid off because at the end of the day, there's very few things that I may not want to make it, but I could make it, if that makes sense to you. You know, some things just it doesn't make sense for us. I don't like big, heavy parts. You know, for me, that's not my wheelhouse. Somebody gets hurt, they drop it. You know, I like parts about the size of a small bread box. You know, and that seems to be my niche. We're really good at it. And, you know, as far as work holding and stuff, we'll leave machines set up all the time. You know, and the big machines, they hold 330 tool holders. So again, if you buy the tools, just leave it there. Call it out, pull that program up, let it rip.
Great. I see Steve wants. Yeah, Steve, go for it. You know, you want to get in there. I keep jumping in. Sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. And I love that you guys are like kind of turning this into an IMTS advertisement. That was not my intention, but thank you anyway.
We'll put a bonus in there for you, Steve, down the road. Yeah.
You mentioned
how can
Mike.
you not with how Mike is talking, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah. But he mentioned that you bought a Swiss lathe. Or you want to buy a Swiss lathe before you meet it, just because you've always wanted one. And I want to come back to that because it sounds like you've got ideas of what you personally want to do with that machine. Like you want to do things. You've got you're like it's fun and exciting talking to you, Mike, because it sounds to me like you are a machinist out of it being a hobby. You're enthusiastic about manufacturing and machining, and it just so happens that this hobby of yours that has turned into a skill and you've turned it into a successful business. What of these machines that you don't have yet, like the Swiss lathe, what do you want to do with it? How does it apply to your other passions and hobbies? And then, you know, once you do what you want to do with it, then you'll turn it into a part of the business. But tell me more about that.
Well, we do that a lot. I mean, the first Integrex I bought, I didn't need. Or the first high-speed mill, 40,000 RPM spindle mill I bought, I didn't need. You know, but you buy it, you learn it, you know exactly what you can do with that machine, and then you go we find the work. And we don't, I don't have a salesman or any of that. We've been blessed. It's all been word of mouth. But I'm a firm believer that if you don't get it first, and my kids tell me, and some of my employees tell me, that I treat the shop like my clubhouse. 10 years ago, my best friend died. He died of cancer. Super nice guy. And I'm a really technical guy. I can talk on any level with somebody. And he was the exact opposite. He wouldn't know a screwdriver from a ratchet. But when he died, it taught me a lesson, is that no one will ever remember me for parts that I've made, dies that I've made. And I've made more of certain ones than the next 10 people together. But if you come to my shop and you see a fire-breathing dragon, or my guys see a tube, a Rubens tube, that's playing music and fire in sync with the music, or a Tesla coil, they all learn something. And it makes it fun. It helps employee retention. You know, the machining world has to treat their employees as professionals. You know, my oldest brothers are doctors. And I tell all my guys, just because you work in a shop, a factory, don't ever have anybody look down on you. Because you know what? Most of my guys have nicer cars than their friends. And and you make what you want to make in life. and there's no limit to what I pay my guys here. If they want to make more, we had a meeting this beginning of this year. I plan on growing our business 25% this year. Every goal I've ever set myself, I've attained. Now, I don't know how we're going to do it, but I guarantee you, I'll bet I'll eat this computer if you guys come back next year and this company isn't 25% bigger in sales.
Yeah, I'm not taking that bet.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to take that one, Mike.
So, I think part of it is, you have to have the right equipment. You have to have the right mindset to keep employees, and you have to have the right mindset to hire that employee. You want a guy that wants. You want a guy that wants a better car, a better life, a better work environment. He wants a boss that listens to him. Hey, this isn't safe, or this is dirty, or we can do this. I worked for a company for a while where I'm not smart, but I was smarter than the guy who was above me. I'll put it that way. And I would tell them something, and they resented it. And that's the worst thing you can do to an employee, is maybe you can tell them, hey, look, I agree with you, but I can't afford it right now. Give me 6 months. We'll put it on the docket. When the capital's there, we'll buy it, or whatever. Or it doesn't make sense. Give them a good reason why it doesn't make sense. So I don't know if I answered your question or if I'm just rambling, but
yeah, that's okay. I do the same thing all the time. You mentioned cars a lot, and I heard that you guys have a lot of cars actually in the shop. What are some of the things that you guys do for your cars? Do you guys make and machine a lot of parts for your cars in there? What other stuff do you do for fun with the equipment that you have at your disposal?
Well, in the back of my shop, I have a lot of old muscle cars, and my guys have cars, and everybody's welcome to use my shop. We have car lifts back there. I'm a pretty good mechanic, and I have a friend of mine that's a really good mechanic if I get over my head. But yeah, we restore cars. We've done a bunch of resto mods. We've made our own frames for cars, our own suspension. So basically, whatever when you own a nice big shop, take advantage of it. And my guys take advantage of it too.
So I didn't mean to cut you off, but have you had to reverse engineer parts for some of these old cars that are out of production and remake some of those parts that you can no longer get in your own shop?
Oh yeah, we do it all the time. We have a scanner here, so we reverse engineer a lot of parts, and that's the beauty of having a shop. Not only can you make it, you can make it better. My newest car is 50 years old. Wow. So the technology from 50 years ago to today it's light and day. So whether we machine a set of heads now, or we'll put a sniper on instead of a carburetor, there's a lot we do. I enjoy working on cars. That's my Saturday afternoon or my Sunday.
Nice. Well, that's great. So, but I think really what you have is you've sort of blended sort of the best of the kind of what I would say is old school and new school. You got a high tech, super clean, forward thinking shop, but you're treating your employees like family, right? You've got a good, strong team. It's sort of the best of both worlds. And by the way, I have to tell you, so I'm here over at Georgia Tech. We've got a big mechanical engineering program. This is the type of place that a lot of our students would love to go to. They don't want to go to the big monolithic place, or where they go to some of these shops like, oh, that's kind of nasty looking. They really, they want to go to a high tech place where you've got just a good, strong team. And man, it sounds like you've got the right formula for success there, Mike.
Yeah, we have fun, and I got a great team. One of the things I wanted to mention, if you don't mind, is
Sure.
because there's three things that I'm really passionate about. It's machine shops, it's about shop art, and old cars. So we're having our own podcast, and I'd love to have you guys on it also.
Cool.
And it's called The Curse. And it's called The Curse because there's everything I see, I think I can make. There's very few things, and smartphones are terrible because I'll stop, I'll see something, I take a picture of it, and next thing we're building it in my shop. and shop art, I have a lot of shop art in my shop. And it could be a phone booth or a mailbox or a fire-breathing dragon. But I think it's healthy for the employees, the creativity. And my employees come up with ideas, we make it together. So our podcast is based on those three things. And I met a fella at World of Wheels here in Chicago. He's a mechanical engineer, and he was bead rolling. And he had rented a booth. And he needed some space, so I gave him some space in my shop. And just these creative guys. He's an engineer, he's smart, and it turned out to be good friends. He co-hosts a podcast with me, and I ended up hiring him. And he does a lot of shop art also. So really, we're going to have a lot of fun this coming year. But if you guys are coming up for IMTS, you got to make a date to, that night or something afterwards. I'll come by the shop.
Absolutely.
Anybody can come by the shop. If you give me a phone call, anybody's welcome through my shop.
Well, next time I'm visiting my mom, we'll swing out there and take a peek, because I'd love to see the operation there. So, anyways, I was just looking at it. We're just about out of time and so forth, but this has just been fantastic. I really appreciate your time, Mike. And hey, Steve, great. Steve's the guy who said you've got to get Mike on here, man. So, Steve, kudos to you. Right on the money, man. So.
Well, I appreciate it, and thanks again. And the invite's open for anybody.
All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, Mike. Steve, Kyle.
Alrighty.
We'll see you. We'll see you next month. Mike, we'll see you over at IMTS for sure.
I'll be there. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Take care.